What's going on, everybody? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and if you've been keeping up with the PC gaming market over the last roughly a year or so, you know that there's been some big monumental shifts and changes and whatnot in the types of competition that we've seen. Now, unfortunately, this is not healthy competition because it involves a lot of underhanded, back alley, under the table deals that basically bribe people. But anyway, that's beside the point to a certain extent anyway, or at least one that we will explore a little bit later in this video. That one, of course, is the whole deal with Epic Games and their Epic Games store and buying exclusivity, temporary timed exclusivity at least, of third-party games for their digital storefront. Now, this is something that has been very prevalent in the console market for decades at this point, but it's a brand new, very, very different thing when it comes to PC. This has only been implemented in the Epic Games Store when it comes to PC. So naturally, we're not happy about it whatsoever. No one wants to use a vastly inferior storefront and a vastly inferior product and service. So naturally, people aren't happy about it. Now, the reason for that, or more so how it's came to be in this way, is because that Epic Games can't develop their own store with their own portfolio of games, because really they only use Fortnite nowadays. What they've been doing is they've been buying exclusivity of third-party games. They will pay developers a large sum of money to release their game on their digital storefront exclusivity for a specific period. That period may be 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, or a year. Typically we've seen it as a year, but there have been one or two exceptions, like Borderlands 3. Yeah, they really speak about confidence of the Epic Games Store for Borderlands 3 when they're the only one that will do a 6-month deal and not a 12-month. We see through your lies, Randy. But so far, there have been very, very, very few instances of seeing numbers when it came to what Epic Games were paying people for their game and their exclusivity rights. The only examples that come to mind from before was there was an indie game that I believe they paid something like $200,000 for. But indie games are one thing. When it comes to large AAA games, obviously those things, along with their publishers, developers and whatnot, are going to command a lot more money. For example, I can only wonder how much they paid for Borderlands 3, one of the biggest games of how many years at this point? Naturally, a game like Borderlands 3 or Control is going to cost significantly more than something like Ooblets. But speaking of Control, we now have a specific solid number when it came to Control and the cost of the 1-year exclusivity rights. So thanks to a financial report from Digital Bros, who are the parent company of 505 Games, who publish Control, it's come out that Epic Games have paid €9.49 million, that's about $10 million, for the 1-year exclusivity deal for Control on PC. Now, since the Epic Games Store and their bribery works in a way that it basically pays them up front for a select amount of copies, it's a guaranteed sales number basically, I did the math, and with these numbers and the fact that Control is a €60 game on the Epic Games Store, this equates out to Epic Games paying them for 158,166.6 copies. We'll just call it 158,166 because I don't know how you're going to get 0.6 of a game. But that is a lot of copies. That is a lot of money straight up paid in advance for something that will now probably not be hit, at least for the first year until the game comes to Steam. But it really goes to show just how hard Epic Games are going in order to try get people onto their store, to try get games onto their store. But every single person I have talked to, every single person that I interact with about the Epic Games Store and I question them and all about it, I always hear the same few replies over and over and over again, and that makes me happy because they are valid, justified replies. I frequently hear, oh, I'll just wait till it comes to Steam. Oh, I just won't buy the game completely because of how the developers are clearly treating everything. Or, fuck it, I'll just pirate the game. I always get a quick little chuckle when it comes to piracy of stuff that has these Epic Games exclusivity deals on it. Mainly because the way I look at it is all these advanced copies that they're paid for, yeah, these are the ones that we're all pirating. But this all leads back to one other statement that Epic Games made before previously. They always said that they make offers to developers and whatnot, and ultimately it's down to the developer or publisher or whoever it is if they take the offer or not. Now, I've always countered that because I know that Epic Games have been throwing around their Fortnite billions. And I've always said, if you make someone an offer they can't refuse, do you really make them an offer? And based on the number that we've seen the 505 games got for this, it really looks like an offer they can't refuse. Because it would not surprise me if that cost of the Epic Games exclusivity deal alone paid for more than the entire game's development. And not to mention that Remedy / 505 Games also took money from Sony as well. When you combine the two of those together, it's almost guaranteed that they made more money on those two deals than it cost to develop the entire game. Anyway, let me know in the comments section below what you think about the whole Epic Games buying out exclusivity with their sheer massive amounts of copies. One could almost argue they're unrealistic amounts of copies. After all, if I was to buy 1 million copies of a game that's not going to sell, well, the developer is obviously going to take that stuff. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on the whole situation in the comments section below. Hit the appropriate button to let me know I did on the video, and while you're at it, why not head on over and hit the subscribe button and even ring the little notification bell. Granted, getting a notification from YouTube in current year about a new video upload or a live stream or whatever is a whole other story, but hey, at least you can say you tried, am I right? As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.